Radio.
Tuned to Liberty Radio 91.7 FM. Thank you so much for joining us this very beautiful Tuesday morning. It's the 13th day in the month of October. Now, if you have been following me right from, let's say 9, I've been talking about a campaign that will start by 11. Well, you're welcome. My name is Rose Yusuf Kaiser, and of course, I'll be your anchor for this particular campaign, and of course, taking you through the program for the next 26 minutes, thereabouts. Yes, and of course, the campaign is on the... Okay, let's just quickly get that out. Okay, now, campaign against suffering in silence. That's Casis. That's what the campaign is about, suffering in silence. And of course, it has to do with mental health and psychosocial support for the military, paramilitary, and survivors of kidnapping in Nigeria. All right, so you know that all I've said is dwelling all on mental health. All right, the only difference with this is that we're going to be looking at military, paramilitary, and survivors of kidnapping in Nigeria. Now, talking about paramilitary, we're talking about those involved in other aspects of military. We're talking about the police. We're talking about those in customs. Yeah, we're talking about DSS. We're talking about and so on. Even fire service, I think, is also included, and basically all those in uniforms. That's what we're busy talking on, and you agree with me that they get to face a lot in the course of their duty, in the line of duty. They get to face a lot, and some of them actually come down with some mental health issues that are not frequently discussed, and sometimes they don't even know where to get this help. So that's what this campaign is about, and this campaign is coming from the General Ibrahim Atahiru Foundation. And it's an independent and non-partisan foundation that is named after the late Chief Army Staff of Nigeria, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru, who passed away on 21st May 2021 while on active duty in the service of Nigeria. Now, the priority of this particular campaign is on mental health and psychosocial support. All right, to the military, paramilitary, veterans, their wives, widows, and dependents who are all affected by war and violence. And of course, you know that this is we've had our own share of these particular issues in Nigeria. We're talking about the fight on Boko Haram. We're talking about so many other, issues that have come up that have actually warranted some of our military personnel, paramilitary personnel to actually go ahead and fight for our peace. And at the end of the day, they leave their wives behind, they leave their dependents behind, and this actually has an effect on all of them. So that's why we have this foundation, the General Ibrahim Atahiru Foundation, bringing up this campaign against suffering in silence, which has to do with the mental health and psychosocial support for the military, paramilitary, and survivors of kidnapping in Nigeria. All right, so with me this morning to introduce this formally and, of course, to know what all this is about is Dr. Issa Hamza, who is a clinical psychologist. Now, if you've been with Liberty, you know that Dr. Issa is not a new person in Liberty. He's a friend to the house. So he has been on mostly the talk, of course, even when Jume Martin was around. And I think I've had him on TV also for some, talk on mental health. So I think he's just the go-to man when it comes to mental health discussions. Thank you, Dr. Issa, for coming through this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so Dr. Issa, just this campaign, I actually got interested in because it has to do with mental health, and the mental health cannot be overemphasized because I think that's where everything starts from. That's like the brain. That's so if there's an issue there, then that means there could be an issue with every other thing. So why do you think this is actually necessary? Why do you think this is something to draw our attention to? Why do you think we need to create awareness on this particular issue of mental health, psychosocial support for especially for military, paramilitary, and all our survivors of all our insecurities that we're facing in the country?
Well, thank you very much. Looking at our own environment, our own society, people feel and believe that the military, paramilitary personnel are, because of their orientation, they are just like robots, forgetting about their emotional well-being, their psychological well-being, forgetting that they also have a life. But they choose to defend us, to protect us, for us to be able to sleep very well at night and to carry on with our day-to-day activities. Now, if you look at all the platforms all across the country, you will notice that nothing like this has been done for any military and paramilitary organization, and there has never been a support for them. Then the General Ibrahim Atairu Foundation, we decided to sit down and look at, okay, where are we going to come in and assist, taking cognizance of the challenges they face and the issues, and being into the system and discussing with some people in the system as well, and before his demise, I can personally talk about one or two issues.
Okay.
And he has a lot of passion and a lot of care for his own personnel, and it will even interest you that my in-law actually worked with him, and they've worked very, very well. And throughout his career, he has been an outstanding military personnel, and so caring, and a father. So after his demise, the family felt there is the need to assist those that couldn't actually speak up for themselves, and they are suffering in silence, and to create support for them, and to see how the platform will be able to assist them in being a lot more productive in the field as well. So, and also the family as well. If the family is balanced and the family is stable, they tend to become a lot more productive. But, sometimes what they see on the field is so traumatic that when they come back, they expect them to carry on with their day-to-day activities, which is not actually professional and right.
Okay. All right. So you've just given us the whole background of why the foundation, the General Ibrahim Atairu Foundation, is specifically concerned about the mental health of military, paramilitary, and survivors here in the country. Now, what are some of these mental health issues that they get to face? Because when you talk about mental health, it's like that's just the name to give every other thing that it's combined. So, what are some of the specific mental health issues that maybe during the course of your work you have actually experienced some of them, coming up with some of these mental issues that had to draw the attention of this foundation to actually delve into that?
Well, the most common of all is PTSD. And depression.
Post-traumatic.
Yes. Post-traumatic stress disorder. And it is so much so that the isolation and there's a lot of isolation. There's a lot of societal and communication barrier between the personnel that went to serve, that are coming back from service, like the ones that were on the front line, and their family. Sometimes they can stay, like I had some cases that they stay for almost a week in a room, and there's another case that I believe we handle, the sound of one or two things will trigger them, So all of those are signs and signs of PTSD. Another thing here is depression as well. Those are the common mental health challenges they tend to face. Depression here is as a result of the isolation they've been in, what they've been going through. Sometimes they stay for days without proper meals. Then some panic disorders, thinking of if they are going to attack us, is it today? They always have to be on their toes, anxiety and the likes of it. So those are the common ones that we were able to pinpoint for a short period of time. Okay. And it will also interest you that all of those things, they have a way of affecting their own way of productivity in the society, even in the barracks. The mistake sometimes people usually make is that they feel, okay, he has been to the Northeast, he has served, so he's a robot or he's a superhuman. No, he has emotions. He has a family to cater for. Yeah. He has people, he has children to train as well. So if he is not mentally stable, emotionally stable, and he's not going to be productive in the society as well.
Okay, so just stay with us. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, of course, we'll be talking more on this. Remember, this is the first episode of this particular campaign that I told you will be coming up every Tuesday from 11 to 11:30, and this is from the General Ibrahim Atahiru Foundation, bringing us a campaign against suffering in silence. That's a mental health and psychosocial support for military, paramilitary, and survivors of kidnapping in Nigeria. This is Liberty Radio 91.7 FM. We'll be back shortly. All right, thank you for staying with us on Liberty Radio 91.7 FM. So, while we're on that break, we're expecting a call from the wife of late General Ibrahim Atahiru. We're expecting her call. That's Aisha Ibrahim Atahiru. We're expecting her call to actually, let us know what all this is about, hearing from her directly, and of course, getting to understand it more from her own points. All right, I think we have online already. All right, so she's trying to call in. So let's probably be patient a little so that we can hear from her directly. All right, so let's not forget that this is a campaign against suffering in silence, Casis, and that has to do with the mental health and psychosocial support for the military. All right, so we'll just go ahead and get to hear from her. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Rose Yusuf. I'm calling you from Liberty Radio.
Hi, Rose. My name is Mrs. Fatia Tayu. Good morning.
All right, you're very much welcome, and we're excited to have you on this first episode of the campaign on Casis.
Yes.
All right, so just to hear from you the background of all this and what we're hoping to achieve with this campaign at the end of the day.
Okay, thank you very much for having me on the show.
You're welcome.
Basically, this program is about trying to sensitize everyone on the need to seek help and not suffer in silence. So with the current things going on in Nigeria, there are a lot of issues that people are facing. There are a lot of kidnappings, people coming back from war in the northeast and other parts of Nigeria.
Yeah.
And, whether it's the victims of the kidnapping or even the caregivers of people, treating sick people for long periods, so they bottle up a lot of things. Yeah. And it's high time people don't feel that it's a weakness not to speak out. We always say that a problem shared is a problem solved. And so this is an avenue for people to be able to talk to, a therapist and seek help, discuss some of the issues they're having. A lot of people have cases where they don't sleep very well, they have nightmares, flashbacks.
Okay.
And importantly, some of these symptoms, have a lot of multiplier effects. So they spill on their families, they affect their loved ones because people don't understand their loved ones anymore. They find that they're different because they're dealing with a lot of things.
Yeah.
So the whole idea is for them to have this opportunity to be able to speak out.
Okay. So this is not just based for military and paramilitary alone. We're involving anybody that has that's dealing with some of these issues too.
Yes, certainly. We're very aware that apart from the military and the paramilitary, everyone in Nigeria is part of one difficulty or the other. So the whole idea is let this program be, a haven to be able to talk to someone and discuss some of the issues they're having, whatever it is.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for coming on. We do appreciate having you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day. All right. So that's Fatima Atahiru, and of course we just heard from her telling us giving us a little background on what we should expect from this program and of course what we hope to achieve at the end of the day. All right, so for J callers, we would love to hear from you also, your thoughts on this particular campaign. Let's get to hear from you. So you can dial in using the number 0706 336 4218 0706 336 4218. All right, so while we get to hear your thoughts on this particular campaign, let's not forget that this campaign is a campaign against suffering in silence. So the General Ibrahim Atahiru Foundation doesn't want you to suffer in silence. Whatever mental health issues you are dealing with, you should not do it alone. So they are giving you a helping hand. They're stretching their hands to you and telling you that somebody is here to listen and somebody is here to support you. All right, so this campaign is on mental health and psychosocial psychosocial support for the military, paramilitary, and survivors of kidnapping in Nigeria, and of course for general public too who are suffering from any sort of mental issue. All right, so Dr. Issa, while we wait for people calls or their text messages, let's look at other aspects of, let's probably go away from the military, because we've talked about the military, we've talked about paramilitary and all of that. So let's talk about from their families, the aspect of your families, and then even those dealing with other mental issues. Yes. This campaign does also cover them, and especially for the families of the military and paramilitary, and some probably people close to them, their dependents.
Yes, definitely it does. It covers for the family and like every other person, as you rightfully mentioned. Now, it is also important for me to make something clear now.
Yeah.
When people hear mental health, most of the times what they think of is someone is going insane. No. When we're talking about mental health, we're talking about your emotional, psychological, and physical well-being.
Yeah.
It is very important for people to be able to seek help when they feel there's the need for them to, not because of they shouldn't be scared of the stigmatization, and the labelings and what have you, So seeing a professional doesn't actually mean that you've lost it completely. You can actually walk in and go and seek for professional advice on one or two issues that are troubling you, as the case may be. So mental health is not that it doesn't really mean that someone is going crazy. That is the street word they use, but no, that is not it. You understand?
Yeah.
So it has to do with how your level of productivity in the society. You have to be mindfully of your own society. You have to be very mindful of your own environment. You have to be mindful of how you interact with people and how you associate with other people as well. So the families as well, not the families like the families of the military and paramilitary personnel. Some of their husbands or their spouses are being posted for like, let's say, a minimum of 3 days on duty and not seeing them. And sometimes there might be one or two critical issues or critical decisions that they will want to share with their spouse or their partner, and the long gap, the distance, and the duration, has a way of taking its toll on the family as well.
Sure.
In a nutshell, it's like, for the males, it's like leaving the mother to mold and shape the behavior, educate and give her best to the kids in the absence or not fully absence of the father. You understand? So you see, it takes a lot from the parents. From the family members as well. So it is very important for them to also understand that they can actually seek support. They can actually seek for assistance, and there is this thing that this program that we want to embark on, the General Ibrahim Tairu Foundation. We want to start providing like free counseling for the military and paramilitary and victims of rape, and kidnapping as well. So this will happen like once after every 2 weeks, and it's going to be on a Tuesday. from 1 to 2. We will give you the full details and the address subsequently for them to be able to walk in and come and seek for assistance. This has been taken care of by the General Ibrahim Atahiru Foundation as a contribution to the humanity. So.
All right. So we have a text message here. We just have a few more minutes to go. We'll have a text message here. Oh, okay, this should be one of your fans welcoming you back. It says, wow, Mr. Isa, nice hearing your voice again. It's been a long time hearing from you. This is coming from Usman. All right, so I'm sure that they will definitely be excited to hear and, of course, to also learn from you. All right, so we just have a few more minutes. This is the number to call in or to send in a text is 0706 336 4218. Let's get your thoughts on this particular campaign that has started today. And remember, like I said, it's going to be coming up every Tuesday from 11 to 11:30. And, as time goes on, we'll cover different aspects of mental health that has to do with individuals and also military and paramilitary, and, of course, survivors of kidnappings and insecurities that we are facing here in the country. Now, earlier we heard from Fati Atahiru, who is the wife of the late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru, who actually, established this campaign, coupled with some friends for the mental well-being of military, paramilitary, and survivors of some of the insecurities that we are facing in this country. So at the end of all of this, with all the work that you have put in place, with what is going to happen also, what do you think the foundation hopes to achieve? Although we've actually heard from Fati Atahiru, she has said her own bit, but as somebody who works directly with this foundation, what do you think is the core purpose, what you want to achieve at the end of the day?
Well, the most important of all is the level of productivity of our own servicemen. And because if, like I said earlier, if their family are doing well, they also will have the rest of mind and they'll be able to be more productive on the field. And coupled with the okay.
All right, just hold our thoughts. Let's pick this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Katuru Road, Nongwarimi.
All right, what's your name?
Bashir.
Bashir. All right, Bashir, let's hear your thoughts on...
Yes, I want to ask Doctor a question about this, how am I going to put it, stress traumatic disorder.
Okay.
It's only for the military or a person can go through that stage also.
Okay.
Post-stress traumatic disorder.
PTSD, okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you too. So, we forgot this question. He's asking whether if this is just for the military or, every individual is also welcome.
Well, every individual is prone to PTSD. It has to do with your way of life, your lifestyle, and the activities you expose yourself to, you present yourself to, and you become vulnerable to. Sometimes you give in your best in one or two things, and it has a way of getting back at you. Now, another thing here is when you're talking about PTSD, you're talking about a traumatic event, that might have happened and that is in a layman's term, that has stick with an individual and has the ability to affect his day-to-day activity. Like for instance, if a person has been robbed, now giving him a full answer to his own question, if a person has been robbed in his house before, that person is not even a military man or what have you, and the thought of they come at night and they've done their operation, that particular event will keep on playing in his mind, and it will make the person to always wake up, look at the security, the security surroundings and things like that. And it might also make the person to start panicking when he's hear one or two sounds around him, So that is a layman's example of the PTSD. And yes, it can affect any other person, and it will also interest you to know that it can also affect a child. Yes, it can also affect a child. All right,
Dr. Issa, I'll just stop you there. I was about to pick this last call. As time goes on, I think we'll delve into some of these mental health issues one after the other. So, I think this is what we'll call it a day on this very first episode. So, by next week, I'm sure that we'll definitely talk more, God's willing, from 11 to 11:30 on Tuesdays. We'll be here on this particular program talking about the campaign against suffering in silence that has to do with mental health and psychosocial support for the military, paramilitary, and survivors of kidnappings in Nigeria. Thank you so much, Dr. Issa.
Thank you,
Hamza. He's a clinical psychologist, and of course, hopefully we get to have you more come through to talk about different aspects of this mental health as to how it affects every other individual, and of course military, paramilitary, and their families. All right, thank you so much, listeners, and join us again next week Tuesday from 11 to 11:30. My name is Rose Yusuf Kaiser. Just stay tuned to Liberty Radio. At 12 p.m. we'll have the news come through.
We're about news, music variety,
playing great music that lets audience relive great memories.
Liberty Radio 91.7 FM.
You're locked into Liberty Radio.
Liberty Radio.
Hey you, I'd love to make the next 30 seconds of your time the best 30 seconds of your day by telling you about Airtel's amazing MiFi offers available to serve you reliably. The first gives you up to 125 gigabyte bonus data for just 5,000 naira. And the second gives you up to 150 gigabyte bonus data for just 7,500 naira. Simply visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB or walk into any Airtel store near you to choose how to stay connected.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Kawata, dan Allah zan samu auto. Kai, kamshin nan na bugun hanci. Ba ni kadan na mai da mugun yawo. Da wani abu aka yi wannan abincin? Onga kori ne fa. Onga sun yi dandanan kwari kuma?
Kwarai kuwa, da kan hadin ainihi aka yi shi. Bana jin zan iya wani girki ba da shi ba.
Makwabciyata, dan Allah zaki iya bani aron gele?
Da Aisha ina zo neman aro.
Domin bambance girki, ayi amfani da onga kori da ya ji gungun kayan haɗi na ainihi domin baiwa miya ƙanshin gangariya.
Zan dai samu ƙarin abincin ko?
Onga, Mama's helping hand.
Idan ina wanki na ba fidda da ti kawai ya damun ba. Wadda kwayoyin cuta, wadda na da mahimmanci. Italo, na wanke tufafi fes-fes. Italo, ya kawar da kwayoyin cuta. Italo, ba wanki kawai ba fidda kwayoyin cuta. Italo, Nitol na.
Kungiyar NAS da Ungozoma ta Najeriya sun amince da shi.
My name is Femi Adebayo. This holiday season, Star Times is taking us to a better level. You can step up your family entertainment with the Star Times upgrade promo. You recharge 2 months on Nova Bouquet and get upgraded to Basic or Smart Bouquet. Recharge 2 months on Basic or Smart Bouquet, you get upgraded to Classic or Super Bouquet. And if you recharge 2 months on Classic or Super Bouquet, you get 10 days free on your subscription. This upgrade automatically qualifies you for a weekly draw to win 55 inches Smart TV, PS systems, home appliances, and more. These prizes are proudly sponsored by Longreach, Wayon, and Amaz. This promo is from the 15th November to 15th January 2023. Times and conditions apply. On Star Times, every day is the best day ever. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Star Times. Entertain your family.
My name na Ekele, and na accessories I dey sell. Whether na earring, belt, even cufflinks them, e full my shop na.
But people no go buy wetin dem no dey see na. Abi, to you, I just dey flood your timeline. To me, my phone na my shop. My Airtel data na my rent.
The important things in life are powered by data. Dial *141# to choose any data plan that works for you. Airtel, the smartphone network.
All out, we all out. I saw my friends and family. Them bust my head, them send money. One more them go all out for me. Oh. All out, we all out. Plenty bills you got to pay. Sort amount today. Get the loan without delay. All out, we all out. Just save money. All out. Invest money. All out. Begin jolly. All out, we all out. When all I want today. All out. I've been a queue you day. All out. Go all the way. All out, we all out. Save money. All out. Invest money. All out. Begin jolly. All out, we all out. When all I want today. All out. I've been a queue you day. All out. Go all the way. All out, we all out.
Alad, your bank, your way. Powered by Wema Bank.